Wait, that's going. Okay, so this is my friend Brian. He's an amazing artist, and I really like hanging out with him. But he's going to give us a little advice, like, what did you say? Maybe if you had to give advice to yourself when you were like 20 years old, what would you do? Okay?
Yeah. People have asked me, how did you come up with your style? And I feel like inventing a style is a fairly good way to come up with an inauthentic body of work, to invent a style. And I think it's better to just work a lot and not determine so much, not think so much about style, but just work almost automatically and see the style that emerges. And you won't see that in 10 pieces. You won't see that in 20 pieces. You'll start to see the threads of your inevitable work in 50 or 100 or 200 or 500.
What do you mean by follow the thread?
Well, nobody knows for you, and you don't know yourself the route you need to take. You talk to other artists, and one did it this way, one did it this way, and you've got to find your own way. Some of the elements of all those stories will become part of your own, but in a somewhat different order. So what I recommend, and what I believe that I did is it's almost like you find a thread and you just start following it. And a lot of those threads just peter out and become nothing, and so you drop them. But you find a thread and that grows and gets bigger and gets stouter, and you just keep on following that one. And you change direction sometimes. It sometimes winds around a couple of trees and such. But you have just this internal sense that I am on a path that I need to stay on. It's not always the one that's producing the most money right now, or I mean. To use an analogy of painting, in working on an individual painting, very often a good idea starts out with an idea that's not that good. And you work on it for a while, realize this is not a good idea, I need to fix it. So you change it this way, you follow the thread over this way. And then you realize, no, it needs this, so you follow the thread over this way. And then you come up with an idea that's workable and good and interesting, but you wouldn't have gotten there if you hadn't started out when it was weak and anemic and small. Okay, the next point, it is very important to enjoy yourself. And I frankly had an intuitive sense of that from the beginning. It's important to me to enjoy myself. But what's strange is that an artist's work is stained by the circumstances that it emerges from. And if an artist is not enjoying himself, the work can't help but reek of that. And if the artist is enjoying themselves, that essence comes through. So it's important that you be doing work that is meaningful to you and that you enjoy making. And there are many artists early on, because of a desperate need for income, will build a body of work that they don't particularly enjoy. And I tell you, I've seen it a number of times, that people find themselves in the midst of a career that they're not enjoying. And it's just better to just start out in territories where you want to live.
Okay, what's some more advice, my friend?
I think that one of the pitfalls, one of the reasons that we need art and need artists is to help us feel. And I think that it's important for an artist to keep in mind that it is our job to feel, and we need to be careful about insulating ourselves from feeling. I mean, this is a little bit dangerous because, of course, some people are dealing with depression that needs attention and whatnot, but it is, if your life and your circumstances are difficult, that's okay. Turn that into the depth of your work, that if, exploit that. If you can, process it in your own interior by feeling it and not insulating yourself from it. I think that is a better way to lead you into profundity, rather than trying to talk about it or trying to expound about it or make judgments about it. Just try to feel it as deeply as you can.
All right, let's just have one more chunk of wisdom from you, my friend.
I love symbolism. I love the symbolism that emerges from my work. And people will often talk to me as if I am that that I come up with good symbols. But actually, I find that good symbols emerge from the process of working it. I think that it is a better relationship to have with symbolism, that you let symbolism emerge in your paintings rather than coming up with a brilliant idea and imposing it on a painting. That is a better, the symbols are more real, they have more of a life of their own, they're better, they're smarter when you work that way rather than when you gut it out intellectually and then impose it on a canvas and then inflict it upon the world. You know, referring to something I mentioned earlier, it's your job to feel your way and watch the emergence of the symbols. Don't overthink it early on. You can always edit, you can always cancel a painting, you can always not let it out if it's bad, but boy, don't force the symbols. Let them emerge.
Adios, thank you so much.
Thank you.